Hey, this is Moxie Comic Books. Let's talk comics. Specifically, I want to talk about the comics being released for January 11th, 2017. And to kick things off, we're going to start off with something that's not actually a comic, but a catalog. So here on the Midtown Comics website, you can see that this is being given away for free, but limited to one per customer. If you go to a local comic store like mine, where on their counter they have free solicitation material, or just free postcards that you can just take. For example, at my comic book shop, they have a stack of a magazine called Direct Current, which is like a DC publication that they give out for free. You just grab one, and you just have extra reading material, just something to look at. But coming out this Wednesday is DC's Essential Graphic Novels for 2017, where they highlight 25 graphic novels that they claim are vital for anyone's collection. So these are great starting points if you want to get into the kind of Batman or Superman, Wonder Woman, Justice League. And it's probably going to hit like all their major titles. So if your store has just a pile of these sitting on their counter and they're for free, might as well grab one and think about what graphic novels you can buy from DC to kind of get into moving forward for 2017. And speaking of DC, the first actual comic that I'm going to recommend for January 11th is All-Star Batman number 6, written by Scott Snyder, and the artist is Jock. And the list price is $4.99. And this is a story that begins the cold to the core, where Batman essentially travels to Alaska. So this looks like a pretty good story. Seems like a pretty good place for non-Batman people to kind of jump into a new story. For Marvel, you have Daredevil number 5, volume 5, number 15, and I'm personally a fan of their cover B variant, the story thus far cover. It kind of has, that retro Spider-Man-ish meeting the Punisher kind of feel to the cover. And this starts the storyline for the 7th day, where there's a bounty on Daredevil's head, and, you can just kind of see how the story continues from there. So this is my recommendation for the big two, and Marvel has a cover price of $3.99 for this comic. Now, in a later video that I'm going to post sometime later this week, we're going to talk a little bit about Marvel's new controversial plan in how they're going to revamp their free digital code. So I believe starting this month, if you buy a Marvel comic, it doesn't actually unlock a digital copy of that comic anymore. So we'll talk about that in a later video. But moving away from the big two, this book I'm going to totally recommend, from Dynamite Entertainment, and they're taking a page right out of Marvel, where they're just giving you a bunch of variant covers. But at least, unlike Marvel's recent variant covers, Dynamite actually has a couple that kind of stand out. So I'm recommending Red Sonja Volume 7, Number 1, and specifically the cover B, the J. Scott Campbell variant, which you see right here. So this is going to be a number 1 issue, and it's a good place to start, I guess. I only say that because last month I picked up Red Sonja number 0, which basically laid down the foundation for this story. So if you're just going to pick up issue number 1 and just kind of read from there, you're not really missing much with issue number 0 for volume 7. Essentially the story is, spoiler alert, give you guys a chance to kind of skip ahead 30 seconds. Okay, here are the spoilers. Red Sonja is having, some kind of dream, and she wakes up after what appears to be kind of like a long hibernation, and she's in a cave somewhere. She makes her way out of the cave and finds herself in modern day New York, in literally the New York subway, basically. So that's basically all that happens in issue number 0. And in issue number 1, they're probably going to kick off this whole new chapter, where she's going to face, like all the typical stuff that a Red Sonja story would have, but set in the context of modern day New York. The most exciting book for me, though, comes out of a small publisher called Red 5 Comics. So it's possible that you guys might not even be able to pick this one up at the store. This one you might have to order off of eBay or Amazon, but it's called The Rift, and this is the Rift number 1, I guess. List priced it at $3.95, so it's, you know, it's not too bad, but it is a bit of a risk. Basically, the story is, you know, there's a farm in Kansas where all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a World War II fighter pilot crash lands, and apparently there is a rift that opened up in space-time, and in modern day, here's this pilot from 1941 who, you know, basically crash landed during World War II and finds himself in present-day Kansas. And apparently, in the context of the story, there is a government agency known as Section 47 that has been monitoring and dealing with and cleaning up these rift-like events where people from the past are just kind of showing up in the present. So it has kind of like this paranormal X-Files kind of feel to its solicitation, right? But definitely seems like it's a book worth checking out, and it's presented by Academy Award nominee Jeremy Renner. So I'm pretty sure he you know, he's not going to attach his name to something that he didn't think was cool. And he's recently been involved in a few Marvel movies. And a few years ago he was in The Town, which was a great movie. So I know that it has nothing to do with comics, but it just seems like it's, you know, if a guy's willing to put his name on a product, maybe he believes in it. And the story definitely seems like it's worth at least picking up and checking out. So those are my recommendations for comics that you should pick up in January 11th, 2017. And once again, I'm kind of really excited also about the Red Sonja book. The issue number 0, although short, was, you know, it set up a pretty interesting scenario and something that I've personally never seen with Red Sonja before. So these are the 2 books that I'm really excited about, and they're not from the big 2. So, you know, go indie comics, I suppose. As a reminder, if you subscribe to my channel and you make your subscriptions public, the goal is for me to get to 100 subscribers, and last I checked I was at 3. So if you subscribe and you are one of the 100, you will be given a chance to be randomly selected, and I will ship to you, assuming you have a US address, a copy of Alan Moore's Watchmen. Speaking of Watchmen, watch this. I will have another video specifically about the Marvel Digital Code controversy, posted sometime later this week. I will be kind of doing a comparison between Marvel strategy versus what happens to compared to what DC is doing with their comics. So look forward to that video. And I will also give details finally sometime this weekend about my next giveaway, which will be open to all people who subscribe to my channel, and international or domestic. So be looking for that. Alright guys, thanks. See you in the next video.